everyone, thanks so much for coming back to our channel. I'm super excited to show you this video because I'm going to use this slime that I made to create some pretty cool school supplies. Okay, I'm using my favorite glue today, which is the pink glitter from M&Ms. I love the glitter that they have in this. It's so sparkly, and the best part is that with this glue, my slime works every time. So I am using the whole bottle as I'm doing quite a few DIYs for you today, and what I poured in there was just a little bit of my borax solution. So yes, I use borax, and I do half a cup of warm water with a 1/4 teaspoon of borax, and I mix it in until it's completely dissolved, and then I pour some in. And you kind of want to gauge how sticky your glue is still, so you can keep pouring the borax in. But the good thing about this borax solution is that it's so diluted that it doesn't turn your glue into a hard slime right away. So that's the key, is to make sure it's really diluted. And if you don't have borax, or if you choose not to use borax, you can use liquid starch or liquid detergent, and of course the amounts will be different depending on what you end up using. Just make sure that you keep mixing it in between putting more of your solution in, depending whatever that is, because over time it will become more of a slime. So just be patient, keep mixing, and as you can see here, it is becoming a slime. So I think we're almost ready to go. Alright, this slime is definitely ready to go. Again, this is my favorite glue, as the slime always turns out really well. So super stretchy, super slimy, and super glittery. To keep my slime fresh from drying out, I'm going to put it in this container while I make the school supplies. And Michael's, fortunately, put this right beside the glue with the intent that you use it for slime. So these are definitely a perfect little container. I also saw these slime balls, so they're just foam. And I'm also going to add that to my slime to add a different texture. Super excited about these little balls, as anything that you add to slime definitely adds an element of extra fun. And yeah, and these little balls, because they're made out of styrofoam, tend to get stuck to a lot of things. Just be careful that you don't, you know, by accidentally spill the bag anywhere, because you're gonna be in for a big mess. So make sure it's all on your slime, and you can just see the static, the electricity sucking all these little balls everywhere. So good thing is that slime is pretty sticky, and it's holding those balls right in there, and definitely super cool texture because this foam is soft, right? So you have the texture of the ball, but it's also still really squishy. Okay, this stuff is pretty cool. Between my favorite M&Ms glue and these foam balls, this is making some pretty awesome slime. I definitely recommend it. Okay, so let's get started with the school supplies. So I have this regular notebook here with one of those plastic covers, and I'm going to turn this into a slime notebook. So this is where it gets really fun, you guys. So I have my slime, and I'm going to use the slime with the foam because I just love it. It's so awesome to touch. Now, the fun thing about making a slime notebook is that you can create it whatever design you want. So I'm going to do a certain design, but obviously you can do whatever you please. First, you're going to need a Ziploc bag, and just make sure that you have one that you know is not going to rip. So some brands are obviously less sturdy as others, so just make sure that you trust the bag you have. And I'm just making little dots so I know how much space I have. I obviously want to maximize my space, and you know what, you can obviously do whatever you want, just make sure you don't cut out a bigger picture than your bag. Okay, so I'm gonna do a balloon, and obviously I adjusted there because I want to make sure it's nice and round. So I cut it out with scissors, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put the slime in the bag. This part's actually pretty fun. You get to smush it all around, and because I made my picture almost exactly the same size as the bag, I want to make sure that I have slime into every corner of the bag. So I'm almost done here. I'm just going to smooth it out a bit more and just keep checking it, you guys, depending on which shape you have to make sure that you're happy with it. Once you are happy with it, you're going to put it on the inside of the book, and you can use whatever tape you want. Obviously, duct tape is a good recommendation, as you know that's going to stick really well. I just have some design scotch tape here, which I'm going to use. So again, this is the inside of the book, and just make sure that it's nice and secure so it doesn't come off. Okay, pretty happy with that, so let's flip over the page and check it out. This is what it looks like so far. I am so pumped about this slime notebook. So you could technically stop here, but I don't like how I have a space between my bag and the plastic cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some more tape on the front just to seal everything up and just to give it a little bit more of a finished touch. And this is what is so great about these DIYs, you guys, is that you can do whatever you want. So this is where you really want to be creative, and you can do whatever picture you want, you can do whatever design you want, and you can even enhance the front of your book even more. And just to finish off my balloon, I'm going to give it a string. And here we have the final product of my slime notebook. I am so happy with how this turned out, and loving the slime in it with those foam balls. And in general, I am super excited to use this notebook. Moving on to one of my favorite DIYs is the slime syringe pen. So I do have a couple of videos where I stick candy in the syringes, and they're amazing. So if you want to check out our channel or even look up on YouTube candy syringe pens, you'll definitely see our videos there. And obviously in this case, I'm putting slime in the pen. And what I love about these pens is that not only do you stick the stuff in, but you can take it back out and play with it. So if you're someone who wants to play with your slime, this is perfect for you. So you can stick it in and then take it out when you're playing with it. Now the tricky thing about these, once you have the pen in, and I'll tell you how to put the pen in a minute, is that you want to let the air come out at the same time. So that's why I moved on to the spatula in there. You want to try to make sure that the air has the ability to come out, or else you're going to find it very difficult to put the slime in. So to turn the syringe into a pen, I used one of those miniature multicolored pens. I got that from Party City, and the good thing about these pens, because they're smaller and I believe meant for kids, the actual pen itself is quite a bit narrower, so it's way easier to stick into the syringe. And what I'm showing you here is if you don't want that big long plastic piece on your syringe, or if it doesn't fit in your pencil case, you can easily take off the rubber end of the syringe part. And I also got these syringes from Party City, and look how fun this is. You don't even have to take out all the slime, you can just sort of move it around. I even put it under my fingers, and it felt quite nice and soothing on my hand when I was writing. So definitely something to try. I love this idea, and I think the syringe pens in general are super cool. So if you have time, check out our candy syringe pens at Happy Toy Time. Okay, so let's make some slime stress balls. Now, these are definitely not new to the internet, but something to consider when going back to school, as some people do get stressed out. So, you know, if you're not allowed to bring a fidget spinner to school anymore, you can definitely consider a slime stress ball. So I just took my slime, and I actually divided it into two. I'm going to do one with the foam balls and one just plain. And I just cut off the top of a bottle, and you'll actually notice that I eventually trim it down just because it's easier to get it into the balloon. And remember, just like the syringe, it's easier to get it into the balloon when there is the air coming out. So try to get that little air pocket going, and it should be quite a bit easier. Once you're happy with the amount of slime in your balloon, just carefully take it off the bottle lid and tie a knot. Loving the way this feels. The slime has quite a bit of tension and it's squishy, and definitely feeling the stress being removed from my body, so something to consider for sure. So let's see what the slime with the foam balls feels like for that stress ball. Okay, so same as the first stress ball, you're just going to attach the balloon to the bottle lid, and then you're going to slowly shove that slime into the balloon. When it's as full as you'd like, slip the balloon off and tie a knot, and there you go, you have yourself a foam ball slime stress ball. And finally, I'm going to show you how to make this slime eraser. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need, which is going to sound kind of silly, is an eraser. And you're just going to erase nothing to create the eraser shavings. And that's what you're going to put in your slime to create eraser slime. So yes, this idea might seem kind of silly when you have an eraser right there. So why make it into slime? And I know that you can also buy that soft eraser at art stores usually. So again, why make eraser slime? So just remember, this is all fun and something to try out, right? Okay, so I've been erasing quite a bit, and here are my eraser shavings, and I'm happy with this amount, so I'm going to make a teeny tiny bit of slime to go with it. I have about a teaspoon of eraser shavings, and I'm going to add that to a bowl, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon of Elmer's white glue. It definitely does not have to be Elmer's, so whatever white glue that you have available. Stir your glue and your eraser shavings together, and then we're going to add a little bit of color. I'm going to add 1 drop of red, so it's going to turn pink, so it's going to look a little bit more like an eraser. Turn this into slime, I'm going to use my borax solution, which is half a cup of warm water and a 1/4 teaspoon of borax. Stir it up pretty good until you can't see it anymore, and then you should be good to go. If you don't have borax or choose not to use it, you can always use detergent or liquid starch, and depending on what brands you use, you might get different results. Just be careful of that. Keep mixing and adding borax as needed, and you'll eventually get a slime texture. Mine is pretty slimy here, so that's okay, but I'm just going to keep mixing it up. The next thing we're going to do is to solidify this a bit more, and we're going to add some cornstarch to do that. So here's the cornstarch, and it definitely helps solidify it, but you've got to be careful that if you add too much, you'll actually notice that your slime becomes even more runny. So you want to kind of find that nice balance. And I would start off with 1 tablespoon and see how that goes, and then just let your slime dry out a little bit if it is still wet. You don't want to keep adding more cornstarch because like I said, it'll actually become kind of like a slime again. When you have a pretty thick consistency with your slime and you're sure enough that it's dry so it doesn't wet your paper, you should be good to go. Keep your eraser from drying, or my eraser I should say, I'm going to use one of my empty EOS containers. If you've checked out our channel and checked out our other videos, you'll come to realize how much I love these little containers. So it's obviously important to reuse, but also really fun. So you can just shove it in there, and people might think it's lip balm or whatever, and then you pull out this cool slime eraser. Well, this wraps up my school supplies video. Thank you so much for watching the whole thing. Please subscribe. We're almost at 100,000 and we would love for you guys to be a part of that. Please comment, like, and share the video. And of course, we would love for you guys to come back to our channel to watch more of our videos.